Very labour intensive, have a staff now approaching 120. For commercial and industrial waste, the only real way currently to segregate that is by hand picking. It's an unwanted material for one company, but it is very much a resource for us and for the world in general. Passport to Export came along and it just opened our eyes very much to what was possible on a global basis. We were aware that there were emerging markets, specifically in the Far East, China and Malaysia, for the materials that we were producing, for waste paper, for plastics, and we just hooked onto their markets, and it was Passport to Export that made us realise that, and just opened it up for us really. The whole export business was a very daunting prospect. We were then really a relatively small local family business, and the thought of exporting a lot of these materials to China, and just how do you go about doing that? Where do you start from? And Passport to Export simplified that whole process and just made the process extremely easy. Our first question, if you will, was well, who can we sell this material? Who is buying this material that we wish to sell? Through Passport to Export, they arranged marketing reports for us to come from the British consulate in Shanghai, for instance, and they went out and researched that end of it for us and came back and gave us a whole list of possible purchasers of our material. It was then down to us to contact them purchasers, but with a great deal of help through Passport to Export in the way to approach it, what paperwork is required, what regulation there was for us to do that. We would otherwise have to market through other agencies or on a much more local basis. This has obviously, as you say, opened it up globally for us. We can now go straight to where the material's being reprocessed into a new raw product. It's cut out many of the middlemen, and just allowed us to expand the amount and the quantity and the range of materials that we can now recycle out of the waste that we collect. Before we started with Passport to Export, we were perhaps then a £3 million company. Today we're a £10 million company. We won the Eastern Regional UKTI Award, and that in itself again was a great help, because we were given respect, and certainly with the global trade community, with that backing behind you, you have got that instant respect and are able to use that. One particular instance was we approached the British Antarctic Survey, whose head office is at Cambridge. And at the time they were landfilling most of the waste from the Antarctic stations in a landfill site in the Falklands, and we approached them and suggested that they might like to bring all the material back to the UK and have it all recycled, and that scheme in itself has grown significantly and has been a huge success, both for them and for us, and that shows the power behind being able to fly that UKTI flag.